Hi, welcome. In this video, I want to take a few minutes to respond by way of a video put out by Miracle K-9. And again, the same Miracle K-9 that I went on and had a debate with a trainer pictured here, David. Again, very gracious having me on for that discussion. And but here again, kind of revisiting, and you see here, really nothing has changed. And this video was actually sent my way to take a look, to offer my perspective on it. And you're going to see, again, I'll be talking about the same themes here. I say nothing's changed. I put out some really good, insightful videos by way of balanced dog training, Miracle Canine, the issue about relationship, a dog's stinking thinking, okay, once a relationship problem is underway, by way of how a dog fixates, talk about an express state. You'll see it manifesting itself by way of a dog's state of mind, and how it is that balanced dog trainers are not dialed into the relationship that way. Talk about the role of influence by way of intercepting, okay, an express state. That's not what balanced dog training is about. And this will come out here very clearly just right away, okay, by way of this dog showing up at their facility. I want to play just part of this video and talk through some of this for those looking for answers as to what represents a process, the confusion by way of balanced dog training, and even this whole issue about socialization. Okay, with again dogs that are very reactive, okay, towards other dogs. You'll see how I deal with that issue by way, again, in a very controlled way, but fading in the owner, okay, in terms of the themes I talk about, influence and control, how they're reconciled through a intentional, again, interaction-based, okay, method, which is totally different than those who identify as balanced dog trainers, who superficially will motivate dogs to respond, while assuming that those responses can be trusted. Again, the question I put out is, okay, what is the criteria balanced dog trainers are using to establish that the perception of dogs are actually changing that the way that they assume they are within the framework of superficial response? Again, this is a question that balanced dog trainers can't answer, even while this is their entire foundation, okay, in terms of a standard, in terms of change. And again, this is why so many dogs end up in terms of being blamed, change not happening, bad things happening. Trainers get blindsided by way of control, dogs expressing control towards other dogs. And so it's all about the moment of contact. I talk about that. When you're aligned with, just like the right parenting style, the authoritative parenting style, the themes that go along with that in terms of how you're engaged as a parent, okay, how you're interacting with. And so here I'm going to play some of this video, stop along the way to offer some commentary. You see it just right here, okay, just right here. This is like a little clip as to showing us. Not dialed in at all. Here's the owner standing here in a passive role. And this really reminds me of, if you go watch the Larry Crone video I did, Larry Crone doing a seminar, standing out there talking to the participants, and meanwhile, bringing a dog out, the owner bringing a dog out, and the dog just is like lunging and manifesting, and Crone not dialed in at all to intercept any of it. Okay, we talk about this whole finding the working level by way of a remote collar. As controls manifest and being expressed. Of course, you gotta juice up that device, to intercept. It's going to take a higher level of influence to intercept because it doesn't correspond. Okay, it should be just as. Okay, when I talk about stinking thinking, it means understanding where you're at in the relationship, the role of influence. Again, just like the parent example, understanding, gathering the right information, understanding where you are in terms of your child becoming very selfish, okay, and meeting your child where they're at in the relationship in terms of how you're engaged, how you're dialed into the relationship, how you're in the child's airspace, okay, the right way based on the current state of the relationship. And so all those themes I talk about in terms of being able to move forward, in terms of relationship change. So it's understanding what even defines a process. It takes a path once a relationship problem is underway. It's just common sense. It takes a path of a intervention. It's not a learning-based exercise the way these trainers are presenting it. It's very much about just appearances here. So again, big problem, okay? So understand something here. When a dog owner, okay, shows up with the dog, and this is where I put out a video even prior to, say, going to someone's home or them coming to me for a session, like what to have and what not to have, okay? It's like, don't have a dog should not be on a body harness, okay? The dog can pull. Dog can pull forward. So the dog needs to be on a collar, okay? And because again, it's about it being intentional by way of how you're controlling the dog and how influence is intercepting, communicating to the dog, intercepting that state of mind of the dog. Okay, it's right here. It's not happening. And then what you'll see here, I say about the moment of contact, it's just like when you think in the right way, because when you change how you think, it changes everything. There was a police officer friend of mine from years ago. That was one statement that he said that he's really stuck with me. He was like at a counselor level. He said, Dale, when you change how you think, it changes everything. And, that holds true when it comes to the relationship, when it comes to your role, when it comes to change. And so when you're, again, making contact with the dog owner, immediately, okay, understanding the themes, understanding what a process is, you should be starting to affect change. You should be starting to fade in that owner. You should be starting to shine the light on that dog owner differently. They need to engage. They need to start to intercept. They need to bring the dog under a level of control, intentional control. That means this dog should be right up beside the person as you're starting to encourage them, get them to understand what they're doing, to start to nudge. You'll see the form of a nudge, starting to gain control of the dog, starting to bring the dog into a state of relaxation. Okay, because understand that when I see certain things here, this is where people will say, well, Dale hasn't even watched the whole video. Well, I don't need to. Because if you're not doing this at the beginning, that says this is a theme that's going to be throughout. Like just like when you watch a dog owner allowing the dog to pull him down the street on a long line. Okay? You are how you think. So that's going to, that type of thinking is going to kind of contaminate everything else in the relationship. Okay, that's just how you perceive. So when you see certain things, there's a reason why you see certain things, a reason why you don't. And so if you're secure in just like your parenting style, it's your default setting, which means that that's just how you think. That's just how you're going to start to interact with a dog. So this is why when you see something like this and you see how things kind of progress from here, you know that everything else is going to be the same way.
Go ahead and walk on over here for a second.
Yeah, go on. Just let's walk over here. Let's go to my facility. I mean, this is crazy to me. All right, this dog lunging up in the air. It's just like, okay, this is a relationship problem. I mean, the guy showed up in the vehicle. You should be right away. It begins. Okay, that's how I do it because it just makes sense. It's like it begins. It's like you're bringing people into a different way of thinking. I can't. That's why I can't even watch this stuff without it bothering me because it's like this is crazy to me. It's like, what is it really about? This represents this dog's lunging forward. This is a relationship problem, and so there is no real assessment that way. When I do an assessment, I'll briefly look at the dog, but it's all about the human. Getting the dog owner dialed into their role the right way.
So what's up with our buddy?
Reactive and pulls like a racehorse.
Yeah? How old is he?
Just over a year.
Yeah.
Today's the day, actually a year that I got him.
Oh, really? Nice. All right. And you ever socialized him with other dogs before?
Just with my parents, never I'm afraid to take him out because he's like this.
Have you ever socialized him? So when you see all this, you know that there's a different idea of what that means to the trainer, okay? Because he isn't bringing, again, he's not bringing this guy into, thinking the right way. He's not bringing this dog under any intentional control right from the get-go. None of it. He's just saying, okay, what's this? So, I mean, okay, let's just keep going.
Honestly.
Sure. Under most circumstances, dogs that are really reactive, they're not aggressive. They're just so freaking high-strung.
I mean, that doesn't make sense. Okay. So, aggression, like control manifests. Okay. So, to say to try to qualify that to say, well, it's just reactive, it's not really aggressive. Listen, control offers up a false image of change with dogs. Like it gives them fulfillment. This is why you see a dog's tail wagging, and next thing you know, it's trying to tear someone's arms off. Okay. Because the reveal, the ability to even gain any sort of insight into the current state relationship only comes through those two core ingredients, influence and control, being reconciled through a interaction-based method. That's going to give you context. It's going to allow you to see the levels of the dog, the levels of agreeableness or disagreeableness based, again, on how you're interacting. Of course, the dog understands the intent of what you're doing. Here, that's not going on. But to even try to make a statement like to say, well, that doesn't mean that this or that is crazy. But let's keep watching.
Yeah.
So we want to obviously just confirm that one way or another.
How do you
kind of start to get some control over you, dude.
How do you confirm that? What's the criteria to confirm even that the perception of dogs are changing? Okay, the two core ingredients are talking about, influence and control. That's, again, because the question I put out to these trainers is that what's your criteria to establish that the perceptions of dogs are changing within the framework of response, of superficial responses, how you're motivating dogs? What's your criteria? There is none, okay, because influence and control are not intentional. They're not coming in. They're not aligning through a interaction-based method. So this is the problem. So, when you're making statements about the dog being aggressive or not aggressive, you can't even establish the level, the current state relation properly, or the levels of the dog that way. This is how people get blindsided. And so this is all just kind of free flowing into, well, let's just meet some dogs.
There we go. All right, so what we're going to take a look at next here is we're going to start letting him kind of sniff around here, and we're going to introduce him to another dog and kind of see what we get.
So introducing needs to come through the human properly, the pivot point. Okay, everything needs to be, if you watch how I'm doing socialization in a very controlled way, how that advances through. Okay, it's like fading the person in. You're the pivot point. It's about relationship. At a certain point, Aaron's saying everything moves forward. So at a certain point, yes, freedom comes. I even talk about the issue about free will. Freedom comes and everything progresses, but progresses the right way. It's about you being perceived the right way to generate the right level of focus. The perception of the dog's changing. And so everything, is connected that way. Everything, filters through that way. So other dogs, people, environments, everything comes through through the relationship that way. But you have to build those bridges, especially if you're dealing with right here, this dog's there for a reason, an ongoing relationship problem. Okay, so there's none of this type of what's happening here. He's not connecting the humans, the trainers, or himself or the other individual with those two core ingredients in terms of how these people become the pivot point that way. In and through the human. That's not happening. It's just like, okay, let's just,
Like that.
see. So here, and we'll just stop it here. I mean, it's going to commercial. It needs to go to commercial. I mean, don't need to watch any more of it. So, but all to say that this is like crazy to me. And again, kind of revisiting the Miracle K-9. I can say David's a nice guy, but when it comes to like the issue about training, it comes to, what is being marketed. Yeah, this is crazy. When I look at something like this is crazy. So my encouragement, again, anyone looking for answers in terms of, again, reactivity, other dogs, there's a way forward, okay? It's about really making sure you understand your role in that, the role of influence and control, how to rebuild bridges, understanding the issues related to, even in terms of the picture of things, this is how people get blindsided because, control will offer up the false image of a balanced dog at times. That's how people get caught off guard. But, when you bring those two core ingredients in influence and control, it's going to reveal and change. Okay. It's very intentional with how things align and come together through the right method. Okay. But again, you can check my videos out. I've got lots of great information. But again, when it comes to balanced dog training does not provide the answers as to what represents a process, but also in terms of socialization, how to build those bridges the right way, and how to bring you into right relationship through those core themes that I talk about. Thanks for watching.